Hello Webtoon and Lookism fanatics, it's your boy VMAT back with another video on Webtoon. Today we'll be making a tier list on the strongest characters in Lookism. So we're gonna start in the lowest ranks. The weakest characters are in D tier, and these characters are more like executives. They're not necessarily crew heads, they're more like the subordinates to the leaders. So the first character I have down is Jin Jang. Now it sucks to put Jin Jang all the way down here because he was a menace. No, was he actually a menace? I don't think he was ever a menace. He's the weakest character because he just gets outscaled by all these characters. He hasn't really done much. Above him, I'm putting Max and Derek, their collective duo, and then right above them, I have Channing Choi and Jackie Lee. So although Jackie Lee destroyed Max and Derek in their 1v1, or I guess it was a 2v1, they still aren't beating anyone above them. They aren't beating any of the current Lookism characters. I haven't seen them in a while. Now at the top of D tier, I'm gonna have Jason Yoon and Kenta Megami. These two characters fought pretty toe-to-toe in the Hunt for Big Deal arc. They still have a lot to grow, Jason Yoon still being the number 3 of Big Deal, and Kenta Megami not even coming close to Gun Park when he showed up. Moving on to the C tier, at the lowest I have Xiao Long. Now this guy was the director of the 3rd affiliate. When he was first introduced, everyone was hyping him up, saying he was gun level and all that. Now look at how easy Jake took him apart. The only thing he has going for him is his love and his hair. Like, this guy has nothing else going for him. He's redundant now. I don't know if he's going to be showing up again. Pretty intimidating back then, not so much anymore. Next in C tier, Vin Jin. So Vin Jin is not that impressive right now. He has a lot more to show, especially in the future arcs, I think, when they go to Chunliang. And Vin Jin got destroyed by Taejin, right? Like, got one-shotted by Sinu in the 2nd affiliate. I mean, he hasn't really shown anything, so I'm just going to put him around this level. After Vin Jin is Jae Hong. Similar to Vin Jin, I don't think Jae's really done anything. He's one of the weakest members of Allied, and in the 1st affiliate, he didn't do a single thing. So until we see more of him, I'll have to place him here. At the top of C tier, I'm going to put Hudson N, okay? So hear me out. Hudson has a very strong right fist. You don't want to get hit by it. You don't want to get hit by his devastating power. However, Hudson has just always been a bit below the crew heads. He's just been seen to be below crew heads, not been able to beat Daniel, not been able to beat any of the crew heads, and this really sucks for him, and I feel bad for Hudson fans. Like, you guys gotta find a new character to start standing because Hudson, really, I don't think he's ever won a significant fight. I'm sorry. Okay, moving on to B tier, we got Seokdu. Have you seen Seokdu? Man, he had a 1v3 of Warren, Eli, Samuel, and that took him down. Now that is impressive, okay? Getting 1v3'd by one of the 3 strongest characters in Lookism, respect. Next up in B tier, right in the middle, Vasco. Vasco fans are gonna hate me. Vasco fans are gonna yell, but in my opinion, Vasco is placed perfectly right above the 1st Gen Kings. I think he's around their level. He might have beaten Eli, but I genuinely think Eli is super strong. We'll get on to that later. At the top of B tier, we got Jerry and Warren. So Jerry and Warren obviously fought in the 1st affiliate, and it ended up in Warren winning, but an extremely tight match. They're going here because they are extremely strong, but I don't think they reached the top levels of the 2nd generation yet. Talking about the top levels of the 2nd generation, we go on to A tier. Now is where the controversies will start in A tier, and I will try to explain everything to the best of my abilities, but you don't have to agree with me, that's okay. At the lowest, I'm gonna have the crew heads, well, the 4 crew heads minus Johan. So in my opinion, from weakest to strongest, it goes Samuel, Jake, then Eli. Eli being the strongest because he was able to tango with the number 1 officer for a while before the 4 crew heads came in to 4v1 him. This was also right after the fight with Vasco, so I don't think Eli was very injured. So he must not have been trying against Vasco. The next 4 I like to group, it's the Workers 4, Mandeok, Sinu, Ryuhei, and Yusung. Obviously Sinu defected from Workers, but back then, these core 4 were the strongest, no doubt, in Workers. Yusung is obviously the strongest one here. He is the VVIP, and he is Eugene's twin brother. This guy gave Johan some work, and I'm telling you, he could be even stronger. Of course, above Yusung will be Johan, the final one of the crew heads. Johan beat Yusung because of the 10-second copy he learned from UI Daniel, and Johan is gonna get even stronger after each arc because of his copying talent. But you know who beat Johan? Zach Lee. Zach Lee is going up above Johan in A tier. This guy is just ridiculous. This guy has a counter technique trained by Gonsiap, one of the strongest 1st Gen Kings. He puts in work and is definitely the number 2 of Allied. If anyone would be number 2, it's Zach. A tier is a bit big, so I'm gonna have an A+ tier right above it just to name 3 other people. So the first one in A+ tier is Ji Chang Kwok. He's obviously deceased now, rest in peace. But Ji-Chang Kwok was the first person to ever push Daniel after his gun training. Daniel could not beat him without UI, and it's still unknown how strong Ji-Chang is because obviously Charles Choi dealt with him. Above Ji-Chang is gonna be Daniel Park. Daniel Park is so strong, I don't even know how to explain how strong he is. He has UI, and he also has the copy, so I don't know how more broken PTJ can make a character, but that's Daniel, the main character. There's still a lot of people above him obviously, but come on, Daniel Park is OP. Number 1 officer is the final person in this tier. I don't know who would win, this guy or Daniel Park. People like to call him Basement Hulk. I'm just gonna lump them all in this tier. We finally move up to the S tier, and this tier should be kind of objective. Number 1 is Jin Young Park. Jin Young Park's probably the weakest one here because he has that, PTSD problem. He has those pills he has to always take, so it really inhibits his fighting ability. But pre-generation legend, he's part of Gapryung's fist, nothing more to say. Next is Charles Choi. He used to be elite, the number 2 of Gapryung's fist, and that just has to put him above Jin Young Park, right? The problem is he lost an arm, he's old now, and he's constantly referred to him as old, so I do think he's a bit weaker than his previous self, but not as weaker as Jin Young Park has gotten. We saw how easily he destroyed Ji-Chang Kwok, so that's why I'm gonna place him here. Above Charles Choi, another pre-generation legend, Tom Lee. There's no doubt in the past that Charles Choi would dismantle Tom Lee, but this isn't the past anymore. Tom Lee stayed in shape, and I think his current self is very similar to his past self. Next up, Gu and Gun. No need to say anything. Above Gu and Gun, James Lee and the King of Seoul. We don't really know how strong these 4 are, but they're kind of like the 4 core of just life. Like, remember how I said the 4 core of workers? Well, these guys are the 4 core, okay? So do what you want with them. They will always be top tier. Above them is, of course, UI Daniel, big body. This guy is above these 4 core. I think he's the only one who can deal with these 4, and that's why I'm going to place him at the very top of this list in S tier. So that's the end of this video. If you did enjoy, come visit my channel VMatt and consider subscribing for everything Lookism and PTJ comic related. And also, why don't you subscribe to Webtoon? Why don't you read Lookism? Go down in the description right now, catch up, and I'll see you guys there. Peace.